Hey everybody, this is Miss Debbie with the McDill Chapel and welcome to our video children's church service. Well, just like we do when we're in church, we're going to start off with a song, a praise and worship song, and this song is called I Will Trust You, and it's about trusting God. We can trust Him. We can trust Him to be with us, to help us, and to guide us, and that's exciting. So if you were with us last week, you'll remember we talked about a word called faith. Now, faith is just belief or trust in something or someone so that we expect something. We could expect something good, which makes us very happy, or we could expect something bad, and that makes us sad or afraid. But with God, we can always trust and believe and expect Him to be with us and to be all-powerful and to do great things for us. So everybody stand up and sing and learn and do the motions. So here we go.
See me through. I will trust you. I can't do this journey on my own. I will trust you. I need you, Lord, to guide my steps. I put my faith in you. I will trust you, 'cause I know you're gonna come through every step of the way. No matter what I face, I'm gonna say trust you. Sometimes it's hard to see what's coming next. I will trust you. But whatever it is, I know you'll see me through. I will trust you. I can't do this journey on my own. I will trust you. I need you, Lord, to guide my steps. I put my faith in you. I will trust you, 'cause I know you're gonna come through every step of the way. No matter what I face, I'm gonna say I will trust you. I will trust you, 'cause I know you're gonna come through every step of the way. No matter what I face, I'm gonna say I will trust you.
Great job, everybody. So let's remember to trust God. Because there's a lot of crazy things that have been happening in the world, things that we didn't expect. Like if I had talked to you 2 months ago, we might not ever have expected that most of the world is having to stay home right now and stay in their homes. That is just something we would never have expected to happen. But we're going to talk today about a story in the Bible where people expected something from Jesus, and Jesus didn't do what they expected. So before we jump into our story, I'll need you to get some supplies. So grab some markers or crayons and a piece of paper, and also grab some coats, jackets, old shirts, and don't worry, we're not going anywhere, but we'll need them to help tell our story. And you can pause the video, and when you come back, we'll jump into the story. Well, this is a true story from the Bible about Jesus. Now, we're going to be looking at the story from Luke chapter 19, verses 28 through 40. Those of you who have a Bible and you want to follow along with the story. Well, this is about when Jesus was on his way into a town called Jerusalem. Now, people had heard all about Jesus. They knew he was the King of the earth and of heaven and was the Son of God. And they heard about all the amazing things that he had been doing. So he had healed people, he was working miracles, and they were so excited that the king was coming to town. And they were expecting him to come in and bring the kingdom of heaven and make everything all wonderful again. Well, they were so excited for Jesus that they did something that people usually do when kings come to town. They go and they would put their coats and things like that on the ground in front of the king. So when the king would come and he would walk over their things, it was something they did to honor the king coming to town. And so if you got your coats and jackets and shirts, why don't you go ahead and put them, lay them on the ground as if you were expecting someone, a king, to come and he could take his big group of people. It was kind of like a big parade usually when a king came to town, and that he could come and walk across the coats and things that you put down for him. Well, usually when a king came to town, he would come on maybe a big, beautiful horse, and he'd have gorgeous robes on and a crown. And Jesus did something completely unexpected. He came on a donkey, and he was just dressed in his normal clothes. Well, that was kind of confusing, but people still knew he was the king, and so they were really excited. And one of the things they did was, if the king came, they shouted, "Yay, Jesus, yay, the king!" But they also would shout something called, and they would say, "Hosanna, Hosanna!" That was a word that meant save us. So they knew he was the king, and they were hoping he was coming to town to bring the kingdom of heaven and save them. And so they still shouted. So everybody, I want you to just shout for me, go, "Yay, Jesus!" and say, "Hosanna, Hosanna!" which means save us, save us. So if there's more than one of you there, what somebody can do is pretend that they are a donkey and pretend like you're carrying the King Jesus in, and you can walk across on all fours on the coats and jackets and things that are laid on the floor, and the rest of you can be shouting, "Yay, Jesus! Hosanna! Hosanna!" and kind of get a feel for maybe what was that like. And one other thing that happened in this story is that the leaders of Jerusalem, they weren't actually very excited that Jesus was coming. So they didn't want a new king to come in and take over. They wanted things to stay just the way they were. So, they were even making plans to kill Jesus, which we'll talk about more next week. But Jesus could have come into Jerusalem and proclaimed himself king. He was the Son of God. He had armies of angels he could call in. But that's not what he did. So people expected him to come in and do that. You're here to save us, right? So come in and save us. They were tired of being ruled by the Romans, who were ruling Jerusalem at the time, and they weren't always very nice leaders. But Jesus didn't do what they wanted or expected. And so why would you think maybe that Jesus doesn't always do what we want him to do? Well, Jesus knew that the people of Jerusalem, and the whole world for that matter, needed more than just a great king ruling the land here on earth. So he wants us to all be a part of his kingdom in heaven forever. So he had way bigger plans and ones that were way better than what the people at the time were thinking, this is what you should do. But he had a much better plan. You know, Jesus can often not do things the way we expect either. But this we can know, that he always has big, good plans for us. So last week we talked about a verse in the Bible from Romans chapter 8, and it says, God works all things for good to those who love him. And so we can always know that even if things aren't happening the way we expect, our God isn't answering us the way we hoped or expected. He has big, great plans for us, and they're good.
Describe a time when you felt powerless.
This is a time when I felt powerless. This was on a Christmas day. I felt so sick that I really didn't want to even get up from bed and open presents with my family. I just felt that there was nothing that could help me.
I broke my arm falling off the swing in the backyard, and I had to go to the emergency room and get a cast.
It's me, and this is just a really tall building. I think that when you're standing next to a tall building, it just makes you feel like you're not very powerful.
I felt powerless when I was sick with strep throat. I'm in my bed, I'm coughing. This is the window that I was watching my brother and sister playing outside.
I felt powerless because I thought I was gonna fall off my bike twice. These are my wheels. This is when I felt scared and I felt like I couldn't do it.
My dad at work, his muscles seized up and they took him to the hospital. This is me, see with my sad face. And I'm thinking about the ambulance. I felt really powerless because I couldn't help my dad. I was at school and I'm doing this really hard math assignment. Here I'm thinking about all this math stuff and it's all jumbled up. And I'm just like saying, help me. I really felt powerless because I really could not figure it out.
Describe a time when God showed he was powerful.
This is a picture of a time when God was powerful. This was at a test for my karate studio to have permission to go to the black belt test. The test went really good. I just felt that God was so powerful in this moment.
I drew a picture of a flower in bloom. I think it's amazing how he was able to make these tiny living plants grow.
This is a picture of a time that I think that God was really powerful. It's just keeping animals safe during the winter. I drew two bears in hibernation in their cave. It's a mama bear and a little baby bear.
This is a picture when God really felt powerful for me, and this is when he was creating the world, and this is Earth, this is Sun, and these are his hands making these things.
God is powerful because he made the earth and the planets.
My dad was in the hospital for a long time, but God helped us. He provided free school lunches and nice people to help us. This is a picture of me and my dad after he got out of the hospital, and we're eating some food at a restaurant. That was a time when God was powerful. There's this one time I was in my room. I'm really afraid of the darkness, and I just sat down and prayed for a while. This is me. This is the darkness, and I'm saying that, God, please help me have the power to not be afraid of the dark. God gave me the strength to get up, help me walk to the light switch and turn it on. I pretty much got the power from God to help me not be afraid.
God is all powerful!
Wow, those were some amazing stories, weren't they? Well, you know, even when things are sort of unexpected and not happening the way we are hoping, so like now that everybody's kind of running around very scared of the virus that is going around and making people sick, and why we're all staying home. But even though all of that is happening, and it seems really like it's kind of bad, well, we can always know God is with us and He's got good plans and He's going to be working great things. So, one thing I would like you to do is remember that piece of paper and the markers and crayons. Well, kind of like these kids just did for us, I would like you to, on one side, try to draw a picture of maybe how you feel or what you see happening around you right now. So, are people scared? Do you want to draw maybe some scared faces? Or, think about maybe what is happening and what you feel about it, and see if you can draw a picture that sort of shows that. And then on the other side, I'd like you to draw a picture of any good things that you see. Are your neighbors helping each other? Are people praying for each other more? Is this a great time to tell people about God and Jesus and how He is with us and how we can put our trust in Him even when we can't really trust what's happening in the world? So I'd like you to try to do that. You could draw hearts to mean love. You can draw people, some houses, maybe some hearts. Just any ideas that you have, maybe how you can see that God is doing some good things in your life and in your neighbors and your family, in the world, and see if you can draw a picture that sort of represents that. It has been so much fun getting to be with you today. And when we go, I'd like you to do one last thing for me. So, we have lots of helpers all over the world, nurses and doctors and grocery store workers and people like that who are doing all they can to help people all around the world. So I would like you to, as a family, pray for all of these workers all over the world, that God would help them and give them strength and help people to see the good and not just focus on what is bad in the world. And so please pray for them and pray for your family. And most of all, thank Jesus for who He is and everything that He's done. And thank Him that He is always working for good for you and your family and for the world. And we are so blessed and so thankful that He is with us. So make sure that right after this video ends, you pray for the world and all these helpers and thank Jesus, and then go do your drawings. The drawing on one side that makes the things that are making you maybe not feel so good about what's going on, and on the other side, draw a picture about what is making you know that God is with you, that God is working. What can you see that God is doing that is good? And do those pictures, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.